Hello channel viewers, I am DS your psychologist and welcome to another episode on channel NITT. So recently, I've been producing a lot of videos that talk about me being misunderstood by others. So I have been talking a lot about me wanting to find some companionship. So probably because recently I have not been really happy, so I have been looking for someone to talk to much more often than I used to. So this may not really be an ENTJ trait. So in this episode, I am sharing with the viewers what you should be doing if an ENTJ finds you to rant. So the word rant is very important in this episode because when you are ranting, you just want to let out your steam. You may not really want a solution. So just treat yourself as an outlet for the ENTJ to release. Ultimately, one day, if you feel like ranting, you can also look for the ENTJ. So there are some things that you should never do when an ENTJ rants. If an ENTJ finds you to rant, then be honored because the ENTJ thinks that you could be a very important, good companion at that moment. So sometimes I am scrolling through the entire contact list. I could not find a person that I could want to talk to. So if I happen to find you, then you mean something to me. So while it differs from ENTJ to ENTJ, how I usually start my ranting is that I tend to just start a conversation by saying, "Hi, how are you?" Let's say we strike a very short conversation. It is possible that on the same day, maybe 3 to 4 hours later, I will ask you again, "Hi, how are you?" You may be very surprised or you may feel very bewildered because I have already contacted you earlier that day and I have already asked this question. This is a very clear indication that the ENTJ wants to rant. So how are you sometimes is just a conversation starter. I am not really concerned about your answer. So during our conversation, which is usually via a chat on the phone, I may start to tell you that things are not going well on my side. So what should you not do? The first thing that you should not do is you should not give the ENTJ advice. This is because the ENTJ on his or her own is already a problem solver. Sometimes they are stuck. They know that this is not a moment for progress. So probably the ENTJ already has a solution. The solution could be to wait. But the stuck energy at the moment could be really very unbearable. So the ENTJ needs somebody to talk to. Under such circumstances, the ENTJ does not appreciate advice like, "Oh, why don't you go and do this? Why don't you go and do that?" The ENTJ just wants a person to talk to. And also, a second thing that you should not do is do not patronize. So do not say things like, "Oh, you can do this what?" Or "You are intelligent enough what?" Something like that. Also avoid giving encouragement like, "Oh, you can do it." Because to the ENTJ, it's very superficial. The ENTJ is actually a very motivated individual. Sometimes when the ENTJ meets a roadblock, he just wants to talk to someone about it. So he is not expecting any form of an encouragement because FE and FI is not a very strong suit of the ENTJ. So if an ENTJ wants to talk to you and is not looking for advice or not looking for encouragement, then what is the ENTJ up to? So there are a few things that you can do when engaging in a conversation with the ENTJ. One, it's not that you cannot give advice, you must give very concrete help. So for example, let's say the ENTJ talks about, "Oh, I do not have enough resources." Then you can say, "Okay, I just happen to know of so and so. He might be able to help you in this." So this is very solid help. So if you can introduce this person to the ENTJ, he may or may not look for this person, but at least this is one of the things that he will appreciate from you. But of course, the ENTJ is not really expecting this kind of help either. The ENTJ just wants a person to talk to. So the ENTJ wants to know that he is not alone, that there is someone out there. So what do? Talk. Just listen and talk. Basically, avoid giving recommendations, avoid giving encouragement. So what can you do then? There is one thing that you really can do: share your own problems. Because your ENTJ friend is a problem solver. He may not be able to solve his problem, but he may be very keen to solve your problem. So while he is talking about his problem, you share your own problems that may be related. You say, oh, I am suffering this also. I know of a friend who is also going through this. Then maybe the ENTJ is able to help because he may have gone through certain parts of the problem and have already overcome them. He is in a position to help you. So surprising as it may sound, it seems very counterintuitive, but when an ENTJ approaches you to rant about his problem, introduce your own problem. A next thing that you can do if you don't have a problem is to divert the topic. So what do I mean by diverting the topic? So let's say he's talking about, how his clients have been unreasonable, something like that. Then you can say, okay, should we go for lunch one day? It's a totally unrelated topic, but it keeps the conversation going. That might really help as well. So in a lot of my recent previous episodes, I have talked about the ENTJ sometimes wanting to look for a person to talk to. So this is especially true when the ENTJ is stuck, or when the ENTJ is feeling sad, when the ENTJ is feeling depressed, when the ENTJ is feeling unhappy. Under normal circumstances, however, the ENTJ's need for establishing contact is really not very high. Okay, I really hope that this episode helps you to understand the ENTJ from a different perspective. Sometimes the ENTJ, being a human too, can really go through a bad patch and may need some form of a companionship. So if you have an ENTJ that may be experiencing some problems, offer help this way. So dear viewers, if you are new to the channel, do consider subscribing so that we can bring you more ENTJ, MBTI and fun stuff. Okay, I'm going to sign off now, and I'll see you in our next episode. Bye bye.